Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I just can't help myself. You know you're a redneck when you take your dog for a walk and you both use the same tree. And also you know you're a redneck when you burn your yard rather than mow it. Morning on a Monday. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Monday. Good morning, first day of spring. Oh, I love that song. Thank you very much, and good morning on this March 20th, the first day of spring. I love it. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call and get on the route service today, 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Well, hello there. Not a snowflake, but a very nice individual. How are you?
I'm great. How are you this morning?
Great. Let's have the pledge.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Attaboy, Wheels. Hey, Wheels, let's go right to the weather forecast. Tell us about it.
Spring break week for the kiddos. Looks like it's going to be nice, at least for a couple of days. But, however, we are still in that flood watch in effect through the rest of the afternoon. Here's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like partly to mostly cloudy skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side. Not too bad. High of 65 is what we're looking at. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 42. Tomorrow, cloudy skies, high of 67. We do have about a 60% chance of rain showers for Tuesday night, low of 42. And then for Wednesday, winds picking up just a little bit, but the sun is going to be shining, partly cloudy skies, and a high of 58. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Morning, everybody, and this is your program. Give us a call, and we'll talk about anything this morning. We've got some open time this morning, and while I'm waiting for your calls, Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, my goodness, they can clean your clothes, make them look brand spanking new. I went in there the other day, and I think we dropped off like 30 shirts or something. Holy smokes, I hadn't been in there since before we went to Arizona. Well, dry cleaning and restoration of items, oh my goodness, they are the best. At Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Kevin and Cindy and the crew, you stop in and see those good folks today. I don't know how many of you are hooked on March Madness like I am with the collegiate basketball schedule to see who is going to be the champion for the NCAA. But, oh my, did they have some great games this weekend. Oh my goodness, gone teams that are powerhouses like Louisville, gone like Duke University, out of there. And almost little Wichita State lost just by 3 points to North Carolina. And I'm saving the best for last. My former Wisconsin Badgers defeated Villanova. The big boys went to the locker room hanging their head. It was fun this weekend. Basketball at its best. There were some really, really great games. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. We were over there last week for Lunch Bunch, and I got to tell you, Lunch Bunchers, God bless you. Man, I enjoyed seeing everybody again, and it was just fun. What a nice bunch of people at Denny's Restaurant, and they're located at 611 Overland in Burley, and they've got another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. It is America's Diner. Oh my, pancake specials for breakfast. They've got all kinds of different buttermilk pancakes, and don't forget they've got those delicious sizzling skillet meals. Ooh, you're gonna love it. Nice people too at Denny's Restaurant. America's Diner, 611 Overland in Burley. Pardon me, I'm fighting a little cough this morning. Don't know why. And while I have just a minute before we start talking about Demobrats, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and the number to call 678-0459. Why should you call? Well, it's spring, the first day of spring, and maybe you better make sure that your cooling is ready for this spring and summer. Yeah, oh boy, get prepared, even though you might have to turn the furnace back on. I don't know. Anyway, all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Donna Brazile, Elizabeth Warren, and many, many others in the Democrat Party, including senators and others, have lied on many occasions about their service to the party and to the nation and what they have done. They say that they lied, and you know what? If you got little kids listening this morning, I don't even want them to hear this part of it, because, you know, there's got to be some virtue, there's got to be some values in our life. But the Democrats said that they lied for the good of the party and the potential winning of the party. Now, that's not a very high value, is it? To lie, cheat, and yes, even steal so that the Democrat Party can win? Donna Brazile, former Democratic National Chairperson, lied about helping Hillary. Lied. Flat out lied, and then she put it in a case with glass windows and said, well, yeah, but it's all right to lie because I wanted her to win and I wanted my party to win, so it's okay. Elizabeth Warren. Now, there is a scary individual. Oh, heaven forbid that she never gets any national post other than what she has now as a senator. Elizabeth Warren lied about being an Indian. She lied about Cherokee blood in her family. No, that was a blatant lie. Why? To help further her position in the party. And then this story really bugged me this weekend. Senator Richard Blumenthal, senator from Connecticut, said that he is and was a Vietnam veteran. Remember that when he came out and said that he was a Vietnam veteran? It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. He never fought in Vietnam. And I did a little housekeeping and a little research, thanks to my lovely bride, Deanne, and we found out that during the Vietnam era, Blumenthal was assigned to the Toys for Tots campaign in Washington, D.C. And now this lying blowhard, this Democrat, made a statement over the weekend that he is going to fight the Neil Gorsuch nomination to the Supreme Court to the last breath of his body. This is asinine. Neil Gorsuch and his family, his personality, his background, and his values is a man that absolutely can stand tall and proud on the Supreme Court. And he is going to be opposed by a liar, a fraud, and a charlatan? This is insane. This is insane. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I mean, when you talk about people with hardly any character behind them, whether it's Donna Brazile, Elizabeth Warren, Richard Blumenthal, and so many others, and they're going to oppose somebody that really has almost a spotless character? Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. Oh, my goodness, they have all the equipment to get the job done right. They're located on South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. All your equipment absolutely for you. And don't forget, today, the first day of spring, we got to tell you, talk about the Walker mowers. 0% interest for 48 months. Whoa, mow your lawn like the pros do. Stop into Barry Equipment and Rental. Jerome, Twin Falls, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. Thank you for your patience, caller. Go ahead, please.
Zeb, there's much being said about the Russians hacking into our computers and trying to sway the election and such, but has everyone forgotten that back in the 2012 election, when Obama thought he had his mic turned off and he told a Russian official that wait till after the election, I'll have more ability to deal with you?
Yeah.
Seems to me like he was cozying up to the Russians himself.
You know, sir, I am so glad you brought this up this morning. First of all, let me say, I've had callers call me after the program and say, well, Zeb, why aren't you talking about the Russian connection in the election? And the reason I'm not talking about it is because it has never been proven. Why should I talk about a subject that makes no sense because it has no verification?
Well, I haven't heard any verification. There's been no proof at all, none. And yet, Obama, and we could hear this on the radio, on the TV news, that he plainly said, wait till after the election, yeah. I'll have more latitude to help you here.
Well, and your point is so well taken that it's so ridiculous and so partisan for the Democrats to come out and really condemn whatever might or might not have happened with anybody, I don't care who it was, talking to the Russians. But nothing has been proven, and we've had some really high-quality character and job-wise, people look at this situation, and yesterday on various news programs, do you see any connection with the Trump campaign and the Russians? And the people are saying emphatically a two-letter answer, no. Why would I want to report on a story and just elongate a story that absolutely has no bearing right now? I think a person that runs a talk show is an idiot if he wants to talk about a potential Russian connection because you're speculating, and I don't speculate on this program.
Yes, and I appreciate that. It is good that you look up the facts and know them before you report on them, and you have not, as I don't hear you all the time, but when I do, I haven't heard that you have reported on this. But it is interesting that Obama can get by with whatever he wants to do. I don't understand what is going on now that Republicans kneel down, it seems like, and take it when they should fight back and say, hey, enough is enough already.
I agree with you, but let me run this by you real quick. You're a straight shooting guy, and you're a very honest individual when you call in on this program. Who are you going to give more credence to? Are you going to give more credence to somebody like Senator Richard Blumenthal that lied not only to his constituents but the entire nation when he said he was a Vietnam veteran, when in essence he was in Washington, D.C. running the Toys for Tots campaign during Vietnam, and now he's crucifying or trying to crucify the nomination of Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court? Who are you going to believe?
Well, I'd have to believe Neil. Just looking at him and hearing him speak, he seems like he's a real decent and honest man, which decent doesn't go along with the Democratic Party at all anymore. decent was thrown out the window a long time ago.
Yeah, decent's laying in the mud under the windowsill. I agree with you. Hey, sir, thank you for your call. God bless you. Thank you so much.
You bet. Keep it up, Seth. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I got a little frog in my throat here this morning. Nice man right there. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You hear these stories all the time about people that embellish where they were during maybe the Vietnam War or Afghanistan or whatever it might be. And then you also hear about people that never even were in the military, never even really belonged, having their fat little body in a uniform, and they're going around like maybe dressed up as a captain or a lieutenant or a major or whatever. That's insane. Well, here's Blumenthal, senator from Connecticut, and he told everybody that he was a Vietnam veteran. That was a lie. That was a lie. He was running a Toys for Tots campaign in Washington, D.C. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Hello, all you folks over there. I know they're listening, and I highly suggest you give them a call so they can use all the different exercises and the hydrotherapy pool, everything to get you back to being you. They're really good folks. Nick Greenwell and the whole crew at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. My goodness sakes, they've got everybody from 6 months of age up to 90 can use those facilities and feel better. Stop in and let the pros work for you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. Really good folks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, I know somebody that's busy right now this morning. Boy, the weather turned. They've been out there working hard, and that's Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. I just want to encapsulate everything that they do. I mean, we're talking about tree trimming and shrub trimming right now, and fruit trees need to be trimmed right now, and they can help you with all kinds of great landscaping ideas for your home. Now, this year, to make sure that if we have another snow year like next year, it's going to keep the water from going into your basement. And also, now's the time to put in those sprinkler systems or repair the old ones. You better give them a call. Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service at 438-2485. That number again, 438-2485, Scott Gano. You give him a call today. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I love this story. I just love this story. The city of Longwood, Florida. It is a suburb of Orlando, Florida. And the city hall had a cross given to them years ago. And the cross was a commemorative cross for all the soldiers, all the military men and women that had died from that area. And it was just basically a very nice gesture to say thank you to the families and to those that had passed on. Thank you for your service. And the city of Longwood, Florida, held that cross in high regard and esteem. It really meant something to that community. Well, along comes the Freedom from Religion crackpots and kooks. And they waltz in the door of the Longwood City Hall, and they walk over to that cross, and then they make a demand meeting with the mayor, and they say, that cross had better be out of here in less than 30 days. What? Yeah. That cross had better be out of here in less than 30 days. The freedom from religion crazies are good at telling everybody what to do and what they can't have and what we can't respect. Well, a lot of towns, a lot of cities, a lot of mayors, a lot of city councils, would have, in this day and age, put their tail between their legs and ran over to the cross and taken it down and put it in a broom closet. Oh, the freedom from religion people, why they're after us, we better take down this cross. Not so with the mayor and the council of Longwood, Florida. The mayor went on television, and he looked at the camera, and he said, no, the cross stays. He didn't have to say any more, really, because the look in his eye and his persona told the world, I saw it in his body language and his facial expressions, told the entire world, back off. Do not come into my city. Do not come into my city headquarters and tell me, the mayor or my city council, that we have to take down that cross. It ain't going to happen. So back off. That's the attitude we need more of in this country. God bless that mayor of Longwood, Florida, for having the backbone to stand up and say, back off. I love it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to be giving away some cookies in just a minute, so stay tuned. Don't forget our dear friend, Dr. Christine Pickup over at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, you'd better call for your annual hearing screening. And if you're having trouble hearing, she can find out what the problem is and help you with it. Absolutely call her for an appointment today at 312-0957. It might be something with your health. It might be something with your medication, any number of things. So please let her help you, Dr. Christine Pickup. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, absolutely the best serving you. 312-0957. I'll take your call, and then I'll give away some cookies. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Mr. Bell. How are you this morning?
Well, I am just peachy.
Well, that makes two of us. Gosh dang, how did we rate?
Well, we're just blessed. That's all there is to it.
You're right. We are. You know, this thing about the crosses and the flags, you know, we had a couple of years ago, with the flag flying half-staff over the Idaho Roll Call Monument.
Yes.
We had to jump through hoops because one person didn't like it. But we finally, prevailed, and it is now that there's only two places in the United States that it's flown half flag. One is Comfort, Texas, and the other is our little beloved Rupert, Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
So people really need to start standing up. God bless that Florida mayor or governor. Why should we back down to these idiots that try to make us do things that they want?
I won't.
I'm tired of people being offended of being an American. If you don't like the rules and regulations and our patriotism, get the hell out and stay out.
Well, Donna, this is not something you wouldn't believe. Sometime when you and George are over here at the house, Deanna and I will share some of these stories with you. But you wouldn't believe some of the idiocy that goes on right here. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I took a bunch of heat, naturally not on the air, because those people don't have the guts. But it was after the program. They wanted me to stop doing the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of my program. And I listened to them, and I started giggling and chuckling, and I said, how dare you call me up and threaten me and say that you're going to go to my sponsors and my advertisers because I'm having the pledge said? We just don't think that's right because it mentions God. Right here in this Magic Valley this happened, Donna. And as you probably can surmise, a little bit of their verbiage didn't go very far with me because we're still doing the pledge, and we're going to do it every day.
Well, God bless you. You know, people need to stand up and don't let these people push you around. I know some of the things that have happened to you, the phone calls and the letters, and you know what? Just let it run off your... Don't listen to those people.
I don't.
You know, keep doing what you're doing because you keep us informed. You do so much for the community. It's just like the cross and the flags. But those are very meaningful, not just religion-wise, but patriotism-wise. So, like I said earlier, you know what? If people don't like it, move. You know,
I got to say this.
Rolled over.
I got to
rolled over and just let this one person. But oh no!
Yeah.
Now we have the flag half-staff to honor our military men and women who fought and died for the freedoms that we have today.
Well, you and George and others have done so much to promote and bring to the forefront our fallen comrades, our POWs, MIAs, our military, and I salute you. And I say the same thing right back at you. Don't weaken, never quit, because we're not going to let these crazies take over, these liberal loons that have no sense of patriotism, no sense of country, no sense of loving our heritage. I'm never going to quit with that. Never. You can count on it, my dear lady, I promise.
Thank you. And, everybody stand up for what you believe in. I mean, it's okay to voice your opinion, but don't try to enforce it on other people.
Amen.
Everybody, we are individuals. God made us who we are.
Amen.
Let's keep it that way.
Amen. Thank you very much, Donna. God bless you. Hey, Wheels, I got to ask you a question. Over at the station, do you have some water running someplace for me over there?
Ooh, I don't, but I can figure an idea out.
All right, I tell you what, we'll do that tomorrow for sure, but I want to tell everybody I've got a sponsor on here that I really appreciate, and that's old Jeff and the crew at Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Couple of telephone numbers to call, 678-3101, 431-3101. Jeff and his crew over there at Magic Valley Irrigation, they absolutely are working hard to make sure that at this time of the year, when we're getting ready to get back in the fields and start handling all that water for irrigation, that they are there to serve you. Don't forget, they have the very best of U-bends and handline risers and Heliarc welding, pumps, manufacturing wheel lines and elbows. They are really the experts at what they do at Magic Valley Irrigation. You call Jeff and the crew today, 678-3101, Magic Valley Irrigation. I'm going to give away some cookies real quick, and these cookies are from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes, they are good. Now, here's the deal. You have to be a first-time winner. I'm not going to let somebody cheat and say, well, I won the cookies 2 weeks ago, so I'll win them again. No. This is for first-time winners at the delicious bakery at Sophie's Chatterbox, along with their restaurant. It is good eating. Don't forget, too, it's time to think about your Easter baskets of goodies from Sophie's Chatterbox. Here's the question. Now, think about this just a little bit. In the John Wayne movie, The Shootist, Richard Boone played one of the bad guys that John Wayne shot in the last part of the movie in that big saloon. But name Richard Boone's very, very famous TV show, a series that he had during the 1960s. Richard Boone was one of the bad guys in the movie The Shootist with John Wayne. But back in the 60s, he had a very, very good and prominent TV Western series. I give you a clue, in the 60s. What was the name of that TV series? First person to call, 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587. You'll win the cookies. So come on, get on the phone, give me a call real quick. Whoa, that's quick. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Zep, Have Gun Will Travel.
Who is this?
This is Gerald Church.
Gerald Church. Have you ever won the cookies before?
I on a long time ago, Zeb.
Like how long ago?
When the cinnamon rolls, when you were giving cinnamon rolls away.
Okay, well, that was a long time ago. So, Gerald Church, it is correct. It was Have Gun, Will Travel. Richard Boone, you've won the cookies. Call Sophie's and let them know when you're going to be over there.
Thank you, Zeb.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Have Gun, Will Travel. Wire Paladin, San Francisco. And he always wore black. Black hat, black boots, black jeans, shirt, black leather holster. I mean, everything was black. Good old Paladin. Wire him, San Francisco. Have Gun, Will Travel. All right. Minnecasia Sales, I want to talk about them real quick, and then I'm going to tell you a little story about a new song that's out. I've got to get this song, and I'm going to play it for you on the air. I'm trying to get a hold of it today. Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport, sponsors Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06 tomorrow. And by the way, old Zach and the crew, they've got all your overhead doors. They've got all your interior doors. We bought a door from them. Nice door. And they even sent over a contractor to do the installation. I can't do it. No, that door would still be outside if it were me. But anyway, all your windows, they can upgrade your windows. They do it all. Great carpet sales and all kinds of things there at Minnecasia Sales. 1321 East Main Street in Burley, sponsoring Dr. History on Tuesdays. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There is a new song out. I've heard the song. It is extremely good, and the lyrics are excellent. It's a new song that's a parody of Garth Brooks' song, Friends in Low Places. Remember that song? Well, this one is called Friends in Safe Spaces. And it was written and created by, I know the one guy, Chad Prather. And he used to be connected with a TV show called RID Network, where it was a horse program. Well, anyway, him and another guy by the name, listen to this name, Mudflap McGrew. I love it. Chad Prather and Mudflap McGrew took the song Friends in Low Places and they rewrote it so that it's called Friends in Safe Spaces, and it's all about the little snowflake millennials and how, oh, they're so precious, and oh, they just want everything handed to them. And, oh, they can't stand Donald Trump, and they're just resorting to having disorders and mental problems and anguish. Oh, I love it. It's really, the song is really creating anger and angst with the Democrats and all the snowflake millennials. And it really tells it like it is. It talks about the participation trophies and everything. So what I'm going to try to do after the show today, like I said, I know Chad Prather, and I'm going to try to get a hold of the song, and I'm even going to try to get an interview with either him or Mudflap McGrew. I saw both of them on TV this morning. And, you know, it was really refreshing to see a couple of guys stand up with big smiles on their faces and just really laugh at the liberals in our country. And we'll try to get them on the program. I'm going to work on that maybe for tomorrow's program. But it's called Friends in Safe Spaces. And this song has taken over so much that now Chad Prather and Mudflap McGrew, they've had to almost quit their regular jobs, and they're going to go on a whirlwind tour all across the United States with this song and some other ones that they got against the liberals. I think it's fantastic. I love it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-45. I chuckle because Mudflap McGrew. There's a name for you like Tea Kettle Flatbush or Foghorn Wagon Stick or whatever. Hey, don't forget Southern Idaho Women's Expo, sponsored by the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and Idaho Housing and Finance. It's coming up on April 13th, right around the corner, and it's at the Best Western Burley Inn. Don't forget that. It's a one-day event, and they're going to have all kinds of vendors there representing various businesses businesses. If you want to booth space, call 679-4793. All of this for the Southern Idaho Women's Expo on April 13th. Don't you forget it, okay? And while I'm waiting for your call, I also want to remind you about some other really, really nice people that we were very opportunistic to get on our program, and they do a wonderful job, and that's Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. I've talked to these folks, Amy's going to be on our radio program later on this morning, and they invite the public to come visit their facility anytime. And they are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area. And they really provide one-on-one care. So please check it out. Ask them questions. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. The number, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. You be sure and call them today. All right, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I'd love to hear from you. And let's see what else have I... Oh, did you hear this craziness? This is insane. Remember the Secret Service woman that came right out and said, well, now that Donald Trump's president, I'm certainly not going to protect him. And I certainly wouldn't take a bullet for him. Remember that? That all happened about, 2-3 months ago. And everybody came on and commented on the story, and they said, boy, she was a complete idiot for saying this, because now, naturally, she's going to be fired. No. No. She still has her job. And she's been basically kind of moved to a different department. Are these the kind of people that we really want working in the Secret Service? Now, during the Obama administration and the Clinton administration, never once did I ever wish ill will or any injury or any happenstance to the President of the United States. No way. Politics and ideology is one thing. Harm and physical damage, entirely a different scope. Never go there. But when you have a Secret Service agent come out and blatantly say, he better protect himself because I'm not going to help him. Whoa. I mean, all the years that the Secret Service has been there in the background, and protecting our president and others at the expense, the ultimate expense of their life. And then they come out with this woman and I'm not going to protect him. No, he's not my president. Let him protect himself. And she's not fired. And she's just basically like a deck of cards reshuffled to another area or another assignment. Do we really want those kinds of people in that work at all, to where she can maybe do something or say something that would create another idea of somebody else to feel the same way? No. She should have been fired. She should have been absolutely turned loose. Your thoughts. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk to you about these crazies. There is now, and they've named it a medical disorder. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes. Up in Seattle, Washington, they're calling it the Trump anxiety disorder up in Seattle. And people are coming out and saying they're so sick and they're so distraught that Trump won the presidency, they can't go to work. They can't get up and they can't do anything, like they can't make their own food, they can't make their own breakfast, they can't go wash their clothes, they can't mow their yard. Well, they can't do anything. They're so traumatized. What a bunch of loons. Hang on, we'll have that in just a minute. Right now it's time for the weather. Caller, I'm going to ask your patience. Do not hang up. Do not go away. Do not collect $200. Do not pass the get-out-of-jail-free card. I'll be right there with you, I promise. I got to get the weather on real quick, brought to everybody by Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East, Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. Oh, my goodness sakes, you got a sprain, or you got a cut, or you got a little bit of the flu. Oh my goodness, stop into the urgent cares. Minor emergencies, major care. Right now, here's the weather.
Spring break week for the kiddos. Looks like it's going to be nice, at least for a couple of days. But, however, we are still in that flood watch in effect through the rest of the afternoon. Here's your weather for Zev at the ranch. Looks like partly to mostly cloudy skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side. Not too bad. High of 65 is what we're looking at tonight. Partly cloudy, low of 42. Tomorrow, cloudy skies, high of 67. We do have about a 60% chance of rain showers for Tuesday night, low of 42. And then for Wednesday, winds picking up just a little bit, but the sun is going to be shining, partly cloudy skies, and a high of 58. That is your weather for Zev at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by some really nice people. Kyle James and all of his staff at Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care in Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. Yep, it is true. Minor emergencies, major care. Caller, thank you, and good morning.
This is Cowboy. How you doing, son?
I'm good, buddy. What can I do for you?
I noticed you hadn't commented on the ship down in the Mediterranean that had all the cocaine on board, the 4 tons of cocaine.
Believe me, it's not that I didn't want to. It's just that I have to kind of arrange. I've only got time for so many stories to come in, and the first hour is open for them. But go ahead, give me your...
You know what the name of the ship was, don't you?
I've got it here on my desk someplace. Go ahead and tell me, though.
Lady Michelle.
That's right. Okay.
Apparently it belongs to Obama. Obama's went to about, 6 or 8 places trying to find a good lawyer. And I guess Jeff Sessions has got some of the documents on it.
Yeah. It is a story. It is a story that I'm going to probably have on my program tomorrow. But, really, I get up in the morning. I got to tell you what I do here so you can kind of appreciate it. I get up in the morning at 4 o'clock, and I start calling Washington, D.C. and New York, and we try to compile stories like this morning. We were talking about Donna Brazil and Elizabeth Warren and Richard Blumenthal lying and still maintaining their position politically. And then I talked to some people that were with that new song that's out to downplay the snowflake millennials and, of course, the city of Lockwood, Florida. I can only do so many stories in an hour, sir, but I do appreciate your bringing that up this morning.
Okay, Zeb. Love you and appreciate you. Goodbye.
All right, sir. God bless you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I try to have a mix of stories, how I set that first hour up, by the way. And if you want to respond and we keep the conversation going, fine. If anything starts to drag a little bit, I'll go to another story that I've done some research on, including this story right here about some of the people that are, we just can't handle it anymore. Donald Trump, oh my goodness, he's president, what are we going to do? And it's no kidding. Some of these people claim they can't even go out and mow their yard. Some of these people claim that they can't do anything as far as go to their job. They can't do anything because Trump is president, and they're living in a world of just sitting in a corner and crying. What a bunch of complete losers. A woman by the name of Susan Rogers, a poet and attorney in California, she said she is, listen to this, she's hurtling through space with no direction on a plane that she discovers with horror has no pilot, in reference now to our country, the United States. And others have come out with these idiotic comments. It's like they went to a psychiatrist and they came up with all these really weird things that, this is bothering me because I don't know what I'm going to do. The blue states in America and the blue sections of America are really having trouble with sleeping at night, tossing and turning, they say. And then they have nightmares. And they say in unison that all the nightmares are about Donald Trump as the 45th president of the United States. How much of this garbage? There's another word that I wanted to use. How much of this stuff are you going to believe? I mean, this is all so choreographed, and it's also orchestrated from the liberal left. My point to the Democrats, my point to Chuck Schumer, my point to Hillary and the rest of these losers, you lost. Analyze why you lost. Then put together a fragmented party that's like jigsaw puzzle laying all over the floor. Put together a platform that is appealing and going to be successful in the future of actually helping the American public, instead of being a bunch of crybaby losers with your attendance trophy in your hands. The Democratic Party is in disarray. The Democratic Party right now is extremely dangerous for the things that they can do and the things they say that are more scary and divisive to our United States. They are dangerous right now, and they are not part of the American dream. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I have just a moment, I want to remind everybody about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Always doing the right thing matters. Absolutely, and they've got a great big spring tire sale going on right now at all 7 locations. Woo, baby. They've got the tire for your pickups and SUVs called the Mastercraft LTR and STR. It's an all-season performance tire, mud and snow tire. Yep, going to have some more mud. Might even have a little bit more snow, so you better check on this one right now. It's on sale. So whether you need tires for your car, your pickup, your SUV, horse trailer, boat trailer, I'm thinking optimistically, you'd better get in there and see these good folks today, along with the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. You bet, buddy. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. You bet. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. Okay? All right, got time for another call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Remember last week on the program, and I've started going through all the newspapers now, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and the USA Today, and I've been pulling articles out from the liberal left, these Democrats, and the last week we commented on an article by Matthew Tully in USA Today that said, "Practice it," headline, President Pence. And then one was in there last Friday that said, written by Christian Schneider, and he said, "How to impeach Trump." I mean, this is insane. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Good. Hey, did you notice that Punxsutawney Phil was correct this year in his prediction?
Well, you know what I've always said about Punxsutawney Phil or anybody else with the weather forecast, you have a 50-50 chance of getting it right.
Yeah, well, he predicted 6 more weeks of winter, and today's first day of spring, and that was 6 weeks ago he predicted that.
I know, but you know something? There is a little feeling in the back of my old Wisconsin German mind that tells me, yesterday Deanna and I were sitting outside in the lawn chairs, and we looked at each other and said, "Look out, we may get hit again."
Yeah, it might be a little sprinkle. I just thought I'd lighten the day with that a little bit.
Well, other than that, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm laughing at the left, how they're imploding.
Did you hear the program this morning real quick about that new song that's out called Friends in Safe Spaces?
Yes, I listened to that the other day on the computer, and I just And they got another verse coming out, too, I heard.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get them. I know that Chad Prather that wrote it with a guy called Mudflap McGrew, and I'm going to try to get those guys on my radio program. I'm going to see if I can get in touch with them after the program today. And to me, this is refreshing that they're just calling the snowflake millennials what they are, and that's worthless.
I know it. I listened to that, and I just, those guys got some great minds, but it's the way they can come up with that. The words for those songs. I couldn't do something like that.
Well, they did a good job, and really the singing's not too doggone bad on that song.
Yeah. And you heard the one, too, I can't remember who done that he thinks his dog's a Democrat.
Yes, I did. You know, we got to have fun and laugh at these people because, maybe if we laugh loud enough and long enough, they might go away. I don't know.
Well, they got to stop eating the pancakes because they're so depressed. They're going to gain all that weight.
Why, Barbara can't even get into her Lamborghini anymore. She needs a great big service truck.
She needs a 3/4-ton Dodge or something.
You got it, buddy. And that's not to get in the cab. That's to lay in the back of the bed. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it, buddy. Have a good one.
You hear about that one gal that was dreaming how she can build fake walls in her house to hide the illegal immigrants when Trump comes after them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there is no end to the lunacy. These people need to take a couple of aspirins and lay down. Thanks, Doug. I got to run, buddy. Thanks.
Okay, God bless.
All right, buddy. Hey, we're going to run to the news right now from CBS and then be back in about 6 minutes. We are expecting, underline that word, our dear friend, Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, to call in this next half hour. And then at 9:30, Rachel Alexander. Don't go away. Zev at the Ranch. I'll be right back. Oh, my goodness, we've got to pick up the ball and run. We've got a lot of things to do, and I've got a guest waiting on the line, a dear friend of mine, so stand by. Right now, I want to remind you, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Plain and simple, remember the number and remember the name. You give them a call and they can help you with the getting rid of your garbage. Absolutely. Get on the route service. Call them at 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. Really good folks. And check out, too, all the dumpsters. And check out going into the spring planting time, farmers, all the porta potties at the end of the field. Oh, my, they're serving you at Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal. Don't forget that great big women's seminar, Southern Idaho Women's Seminar Expo, coming up on April 13th, sponsored by the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and Idaho Housing and Finance. It's going to be at the Burley Best Western Inn on the 13th. If you're a business that wants to have a booth there, you better give them a call at 679-4793. Southern Idaho Women's Expo on April 13th. I almost said the wrong day. Excuse me. And real quick, I also want to remind you that if you have animals, I don't care if it's a dog or a kitty cat, I don't care if you've got a whole bunch of cattle or horses, you better get a hold of Ark Animal Hospital if you have any problems, and their health problems, at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. And it's true what they say. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, the whole crew, they are the best at what they do. A mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. Call them today at 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I am very honored, and I'm sorry to keep him waiting for a couple of extra minutes, but the Speaker of the House is with us this morning, and we want to say good morning to Scott Bedke. At the end of the session, he's going to put the gavel down and take a couple of aspirin, because this session has been something else. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you doing?
Probably a little better than what you've had to suffer through all this session. I mean, man, you've had a bunch of kindergartners up there fighting, and it's been terrible.
Well, it's been a unique session. Every session has its own personality, but I think by the time we're done, we're going to have accomplished some good things for the state. Idaho is already a great place to live and a good place to conduct business, and I think by the time we're done, we will have made additional investment into our education system, not only the K-12 but also into the career technical education stuff that is so important in our area when we have arguably one of the best institutions in the state and certainly in the region when it comes to interfacing kids and students into the workforce with CSI. So that, despite all of the other distractions, that is on track, and the problems that we discovered within the evaluation system at K-12, those have been corrected and should be no problems going forward. We've had a little bit of a winter here that has brought some underlying infrastructure problems to the surface, and we are in the process of making some major investments in the road system, but including into the local road systems where a lot of the damage has been done with our winter flooding event. And so we can go into detail on that if you'd like. And also, we're trying we're trying to make an investment in Idaho's business climate. I mean, we always want Idaho to be a great place to set up a new business and to keep the businesses that we have viable. So I think that we can tune up our income tax structure. Others think that we need to do that with repealing the sales tax on food. I don't know that I personally have never been a fan of that. I think that the sales tax is a fair tax, and it's broad-based. And if we start exempting more folks out of one, then that becomes a shift. It's like a guy told me yesterday in church: taxes never go down when you cut them; they just shift to other people.
Absolutely,
and that's what we. That's what I don't want to see. I just as soon remove all of the exemptions that have been put on since the original exemptions, which are, the production exemption, service exemption, medical and pharmaceutical exemptions, and do away with the rest of them, including the grocery tax credit, and have a broad-based, lower-rate sales tax. If you did all of that, you could, your sales tax would be down in the 4s, and I think Idaho going forward would be healthier. No one likes to pay taxes, but we like to pay them better when we know everyone is paying their fair share. So that's kind of in a nutshell where we're at today. Is those three main deals of education, road infrastructure, and business climate is what we've still most, and the road stuff is the ed stuff is on track. The road stuff is mostly on track, and the tax stuff is up in the air right at the moment.
All right, now I said last week when Representative Fred Wood was on the program, and he very, very politely deferred that I should ask you some of these questions about the roads and the infrastructure. And my question is, how do you go about, and I'm going to show some naivete here, Scott, so help me out. How do you go about, on behalf of the legislature, figuring out who, how much money, when, and how long it's going to take for these projects? I mean, like right here in front of me, Highway 30 is a war zone. We cannot use Highway 30 going west to Kimberly because it's unsafe in that lane to pull a horse trailer or anything else. And the time and the time frame to get all these roads fixed, how do you figure all this stuff out?
Well, you do it just like we've always done it. I mean, that road in front of your house is State Highway 30, and so there's going to be a state component of that. So the district engineer is going to be on top of that, and when it becomes, when the weather changes enough so that you can work on a road and have it be, and not have weather be a problem, and then I'm sure that they will do that. They will work with Murtaugh Highway District, the Twin Falls Highway District. As you move back to the east, and you hook into the Oakley Highway District or the Cassia District, then they will all coordinate together. They have the thing that is different this year than in other years is that Twin Falls and Cassia and Minidoka and Jerome and Gooding and the Magic Valley counties, it looks like, will all qualify because of the winter flood event, will all qualify for a federal disaster declaration. So that will bring in other money to help fix these roads, much like our tax dollars went into the Gulf Coast states when they have had a hurricane.
Right.
And so those federal dollars will come back in, and they will be distributed based on need, based on problems. It won't be just everybody gets their however many lane miles they have. It will be based on need and distributed that way. So it's not going to be completely seamless, and it's not going to be without problems. But for the first time in my legislative career, we have put aside $52 million. So the surplus that everyone was talking about, a big chunk of that has already been and will be appropriated into the Office of Emergency Management to be distributed in response to this disaster. If both at the federal level and at the state level, everything that wasn't declared or that does not qualify for a federal disaster declaration will probably qualify for the state level, and the good news is that we've carved money out to address just that. Now, if you also, they're having flooding problems up in the north right now. And and we have not even seen the spring runoff event in our country yet. So it's going to take some time to get everything assessed. And I drove that road that you're talking about here last weekend, and it's in better shape than some of the other ones, frankly. But that's how it's going to work. It's going to be administered by our local highway districts.
Okay.
That's the place that we, if there's a problem, that's where we start.
All right. Now, Scott, I've got another thing to say. And again, just because we're friends doesn't mean that you can't correct me or jump down my throat if you disagree with me. I'll accept that. But I think we've got a problem in perpetuity with the highways and the roads if we don't lessen the weight of these trucks. Because I said for a long time, I think these trucks are too heavy for the infrastructure, and if we go ahead and fix these roads, we're going to be back to the same problem. I think the weights on these loaded trucks is too heavy, which is absolutely visible when you look at the westbound lanes with the trucks going into the beat dump in Twin with a heavy load versus the other side, the eastbound lane that doesn't have nearly the damage in the potholes. Am I right or wrong in my thinking?
Well, I think that in principle, you're absolutely right. That the bases under these roads never contemplated trucks at 129,000 pounds, and but we've also seen a lot of breakup when we just had the 80,000 pound trucks as well. So it depends a lot on how they're configured. Obviously our area and most areas still in the state of Idaho are dependent on ag products getting to market. So you have the push-pull of the efficiencies that you capture with a bigger, heavier load, and against the breakup of the infrastructure. Now, and so that's another thing that we're going to do starting this summer, is that when they put the gas tax on 2 years ago, one of the things that was in that legislation was that there had to be a weight distance tax or a weight distance. You know, we used to register all the trucks based on the amount of weight that they carried, based on the principle that that a truck does more damage to a road at 100,000 pounds, regardless of how it's configured, than your pickup does,
right,
or the Deanne's car does, or and so if we're going to have a strict user fee, then there needs to be a graduated scale based on weight of how much road taxes and road monies you pay. So, and of course, if you're on the one end of the spectrum, you want to pay less, and if you're on the other, you want the other guy to pay more. So that's an age-old problem, but we can see it playing out plain as day in our part of the world. It doesn't matter whether the trucks are going to on their way loaded to the sugar factory or to a milk processing plant. The road going to is showing more wear and tear than the lane coming back, and that's obvious to everyone.
With the and I've only got about 5 minutes left here, Scott, but with the funding and the problems with coming up with the money, and I want to revert back to that, with what happened over in your county, Cassia County, and also what happened in Minidoka County with the devastation from the flooding, etc. I mean, is there going to be adequate funding to help these people restore the infrastructure, or is there going to be federal money coming in? How does that work?
Well, let's just proceed under the assumption that Cassia and Minidoka and Twin Falls County all will qualify under the federal declaration. So there will be money available to bring the roads back to the status that they were before the flood event. And so for every dollar that is spent, it looks like the federal government will spend the first, or will cover the first 75 cents, the state the next 15, and the local jurisdiction the last 10 cents. Now, those numbers could vary either way of that, particularly on the relationship between the state and the locals, but that's the basic funding formula that everyone is telling us. If that doesn't quite cover it, then then the state can partner with the local jurisdiction with this other money. Again, we put $52 million over in the fund to address just what we're describing here. So you can't be used to do a super highway or to fix it beyond where it was before the start of the problem, but to bring it back. That's what this money will be for. So with that type of a ratio, the money that we put in will leverage over $300 million worth of federal money. Now, I'm not here to tell you that that's the kind of money that's going to be flowing into our area for roads, but that's the kind of money that we have set aside, and to leverage the federal matching funds, and then to have money left over to address the additional problems, and there's certainly going to be those. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, now, Scott, I've only got a couple of minutes, and I want you to address this. As compared with past legislative sessions, this session, as I said in the beginning, a little contentious, and a lot of things maybe that some people thought were overshadowed or not addressed. What are your thoughts as Speaker of the House as to the grading of this legislative session? Was it on a 1 to 5? Was it a 5? You're happy with it? Was it a 3, kind of a C grade, or was it a 1? Tell us what your thoughts are.
Well, as far as people trying to get along, you'd have to give it a 1. But as far, but we're not done yet, and I'm still optimistic that we can give it a 4 or 5 if we touch the bases that I described earlier. We've got new legislators that are coming in, and they all have to feel their oaths, and all legislative bodies run on the concept of unanimous consent. It doesn't matter. It's not just Idaho. It's every legislative body, including Congress. unanimous means unanimous. And if someone is not feeling it that day, or their issues are not being addressed to their satisfaction, they can bring the whole place to a screeching halt, and that's what you've seen. There's been other allegations of impropriety, that lady legislators only progress if they exchange sexual favors, and so I addressed that early on, and anyway, so it's just been a different session because people are not being respectful with one another, and as the Speaker of the House, expected me to maintain decorum and to maintain some minimum of working relationship here. And you know me, Zeb. I mean, that's the job that I've been given, and that's the job that I'll do, and I won't tolerate a lot of the disrespect that goes back and forth. As to individual legislators, prerogative to stop the works if they so choose, every one of us has the ability to do that. It just becomes counterproductive after a while, and it doesn't, it doesn't help. But if you want to throw a tantrum, the process certainly allows you to do that, and then when you're done, then we move on again. But it's unanimous consent is what every legislative body runs on, including Idaho. And if someone is not unanimous in their consent, they can bring it to a halt. And it's nothing more than that. Those that say you have to operate otherwise is not constitutional, etc. But these are issues that have been debated for 120 years here in Idaho, and longer in other states that have been in the Union longer. It's just how it works, and we can talk about that maybe in the future at a greater length. But
yeah. I would.
Anyway, I'm hopeful to get a 5 on these issues. So far, there is room for improvement in the way people are treating each other here.
Well, and would you dispel this rumor, please? Is there truth to the rumor that you had contacted the carpenters at the Idaho State House to devise a bungee cord to the gavel so that you could reach out and touch some of these legislators and haul it back into you?
No, that's one thing about it. I mean, I am comfortable with the parliamentary process, and that's not something that we grew up doing as ranchers. But it's not. There's a way to operate here, and I've been charged and asked and unanimously elected, frankly, by all of these same people to enforce and carry out the House rules in an orderly fashion that has that is with decorum and respect.
Absolutely,
and that's what you're seeing me.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. I said that very much tongue in cheek, but God bless you, man. It must be a tough job. Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, thank you for coming on the program this morning.
Well, you're always welcome, Zeb. And like I say, if we do wrap up this week, maybe we can get together and go into a little more detail on some of this stuff.
I hope so. Thanks, Scott. We really appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for all you do, Zeb.
Thank you. Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, and I'm very proud to have him on my program this morning. Oh, we got to pay some bills, and I get a chance right now to talk about a wonderful, wonderful lady and her staff at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes, they're having a spring open house. It's going to be March 24th through the 31st, and the entire gift store, the gift shop, is on sale. Oh, my goodness, you can't pass this up. And have you been in there and talked to her at Mad River Laser and the staff? This is a phenomenal store right on the square in Rupert. And asked them about free engraving and free embroidery, and they're going to have door prizes. All of this at their spring open house, March 24th through the 31st. And I'll tell you where it is. Easy to find, right on the square in Rupert. Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert, or call them at 436-2293. Wonderful people at Spring Open House, Mad River Laser. I tell you what, she's done a lot of work for us, and she is the greatest. Hey, don't forget, too, our dear, dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary. Hello, Joel Heward, the manager, his family, and his staff. I mean, they are the nicest people serving you and your family in a time of need when there's a passing of a loved one and everything is just kind of up in the air. You don't know what needs to be done and you've got to make all the arrangements. Just stop, take a big breath, and they at Hanson Mortuary can and will help you. All you have to do is just give them a call. 436-5636. And remember, they always treat you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please call them today, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Holy cow, we had Lunch Bunch last Thursday, and it was so great to see all of our friends again. I want to make that comment again. Such nice people. We are blessed to have that great big Lunch Bunch crew. By the way, too, I want to say, let's ride. We bought a snowplow for my four-wheeler from Let's Ride, and I have been so hesitant to do that over the last couple of years. You know, well, we're not going to have that much snow. I don't need it. Oh, am I glad that I listened to Nick this year over there at Let's Ride. It was a blessing, let me tell you. And along with that snowplow, of course, we got our four-wheelers over there. Well, now is the time to think about getting a brand new four-wheeler for you to enjoy Idaho's outdoors now. Spring, this is the first day of spring. Get ready to rock and roll. And they've got just a great, great inventory of four-wheelers. And by the way, if you already have a four-wheeler, you better get a hold of the inventory. You better get a hold of the service department over there and have them all worked on and ready to rock and roll and ride this summer. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4, where the fun is sold. Let's Ride. Also, remember, too, our dear friends over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Hello, Todd. How you doing over there, buddy? I tell you what, they work so hard in making sure that you have what you need with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. And I mean that. They're very, very conscientious and dedicated to serving you. Call for an appointment today at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really, really, really good folks. Wow, I don't know what that was, kind of a power blip. Wheels, what was that noise as it went through my head and out the other side?
Like you said, it sounded like a little power blip, but you seem to be sounding fine. It doesn't seem like it's happening as much, but if it gets more frequent, then we'll just kind of...
Okay, because I thought for a minute you were shooting at me.
No.
Okay.
No.
even though he wants to sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to have this next lady on the program. She's been here many times before. She's an old friend, if you will, to this program, and she writes for The Stream, and her name is Rachel Alexander. Good morning. How are you?
I am doing great, and just bear with me. I'm on the last day of moving back to Arizona, where I'll have a landline, but today I'm in a friend's casita, so hopefully it doesn't go in and out.
Well, now, what part of Arizona are you moving to? I just left Arizona in February. I was down there for 3.5 weeks.
You just missed me. I'm moving back to Phoenix. I've also lived in Tucson.
Oh, my goodness. We were over at Wickenburg. Do you know where that is?
Oh, yes. Quaint little old Western-style town.
Amen. We stayed there for 3.5 weeks. Rachel, first of all, before we get started on the Democrats and the judges and the travel ban, reverting back to the first word, Democrats, what is the matter with these people? What is the matter that they can't be good losers, which they are losers, and accept the fact that they lost because their platform and policy wasn't worth a piece of Swiss cheese? What's the matter with these people?
They have grown acclimated to Alinskyite tactics, which Obama had really pushed during his regime, and so they just think it's acceptable now to challenge the result of anything that happened legally and democratically by any means necessary. So they're not going to stop until they can thwart Donald Trump, recall his brand new appointees after they've only been in office a couple weeks. Whatever means necessary, they're just going to cause trouble.
Yeah, but it's more than that. Trouble is one thing. It reverts back to the person that started it. But this trouble is hurting the taxpayers and citizens of the United States because it's taking time away from actual legislation and making this country better. So the Democrats are digging a hole, quite frankly, and they're burying this country.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned you go that far. I have another article coming out on the stream any minute now called The Progressively Frightening Totalitarian and Judgmental Left. And it basically compares them to, the Pharisees of the Old Testament who, do as I say, not as I do. And I'm going to tell you what to do, and if you don't, doggone it, you're in trouble. And so that's what they're doing. They're forcing everyone to cave into the way they believe, and they're stalling things from happening, Trump's nominations, legislation from going through, and they've become rather oppressive. In my article, I argue that it's no longer that they're politically correct. They're actually totalitarian, and we can't even escape them. Every little thing we do, they're on us. They're trying to get us in trouble. They're trying to put us in prison. They're trying to prosecute us. Retweet one person's politically incorrect tweet, and you could find yourself prosecuted, or you could lose your job.
Yeah. Rachel, let's get into these judges. Now, I'm going to say a little remark here, and if you want to criticize me, feel free to do so. It certainly will not make me mad. I absolutely stand behind the travel ban that Trump initially wanted to impose for the safety and sanity of who's coming into this country. I do not want Muslims coming into this country that are unscrutinized and we really don't know who they are or what they represent. I am entirely in favor of a 120-day moratorium to make sure that somehow the vetting process is much more secure for me. I don't care about these people coming in. I care about my family, I care about my neighborhood, and I care about my country. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and Trump even agrees with you. He says he didn't think there was anything wrong with the original version of the travel ban. I don't either. I think Trump was trying to get around these activist judges by watering it down, and it's not going to work because these judges were shopped for. And one thing I have to just interject and point out that just disgusted me as I was researching this article. It took me a little longer to write because none of the other news accounts out there, covered a lot of this stuff. The fact that these judges were judge shot for. They didn't cover the fact, only the president covered the fact that 8 U.S.C. 1182F explicitly authorizes him to put in place a travel ban just like this. The judicial decisions did not address this. All the judicial decisions did was go on and on about non-discrimination. Well, that's wonderful. You're talking about non-discrimination, but what about the rights of Americans to life, liberty, and happiness, and stopping crime, national security interests? Excuse me.
Well, Rachel, you take a second to compose yourself. I know I've had a cough the last couple of weeks myself. Excuse me. But I really don't care if these people feel shortchanged. I want to make sure this country's safe. And Obama did the same thing, and nobody on the liberal media left came down in condemnation on him. How come a double standard here?
Yeah, well, it's because I think these judges have the liberal agenda, which is they want to remake the United States into their liking. They want a predominantly Muslim United States. They want fewer Christians. They want to make this country up to be, their utopia. Unfortunately, as we all know, their utopia is going to end up, something more like Syria, where ISIS runs rampant. It's not that there's no such thing as having this majority of radical Muslims who are going to be peaceable. But, the left doesn't understand that. They are doomed to repeat history. And that's why, Obama, gets a free pass whenever he tries to implement his agenda, unlike Trump.
Let me ask you this, though, and I'm not nitpicking at what you just said. I'm in agreement with what you just said. But why, when you use the term they want more Muslims here, why? I do not understand that, because they're coming from an area of the world that the only thing they have to export to the rest of the world is oil. And after oil, the only thing that they use to export to the rest of the world is hate for the rest of the world. Why do we want them here?
But that's the thing. The liberals hate Christians more than almost anything. They hate Christians more than they hate Muslims, and more than they hate radical Islam. So if by bringing the radical Islamists here, they're able to start stamping out, by implementing Sharia law, they're able to start stamping out Christian values, Christians from society, and implementing this, bringing over backwards to Muslims. And so the Muslims are accomplishing the Democrats' dirty work for them.
How long before somebody wakes up and smells the coffee on this? Is it going to be the Trump administration? Are they going to put the kibosh on this? Is it going to be the American people in general, with the still 81 to 82% of the people that are absolutely opposed as to what's been done through the Obama administration? I mean, I'm looking at a very serious situation here. I know that we here in the Magic Valley, and Twin Falls in particular, are a housing agent for a lot of these Muslim refugees coming in from overseas. I'm against it. I've absolutely stated my case on my radio program many, many times, because no matter what you or anybody else says, Rachel, we don't know who these people are, because they did not come from countries that had bona fide computer systems with files on people at the county courthouse. This is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them say they're young, men, as in teenage boys, when we know they're more like 24 years old. But they're doing that because they know if they're, unaccompanied minors, they have a better chance of getting in. And it's proving time and time again that's not true. So, right, and I think, where it's all going to end is probably going to be the U.S. Supreme Court. It's not clear whether Gorsuch is going to be on the court or not. Hopefully he is, because I think it's a slam dunk that the Supreme Court will finally shut this nonsense down. These, federal district courts are located in very liberal circuits. The Fourth Circuit is now very liberal. Obviously, the Ninth Circuit is very liberal, where Hawaii, the district judge is. And so I think, depending on how soon he gets to the U.S. Supreme Court, we'll find this finally upheld.
But when you look at it, I'm kind of crossing over the lines here to other stories also, but when you look at the personality of America today, when you're writing for the Stream, honestly, Rachel, have you ever seen such a divide or a great big chasm of hatred from the left because they lost and these poor little snowflakes just can't accept it?
No, I haven't. I mean, we're in a frightening new era where people are at each other's throats. And, like I said earlier, you barely make a politically incorrect joke, and they're at your job. They're trying to get you fired. I went to high school with this guy who merely tweeted, some negative things about Muslims, and now they're trying to get him fired from his teaching job. So, the left has just fomented these people into like emotional rage, and I think a lot of it's artificial. You look at all the Black Lives Matter people and how they're so angry about these alleged crimes against blacks by cops, that you go and you look at the facts, and that's not actually what happened. There wasn't any racism going on. So I think they've fomented the left into this frenzy that's fake, and it almost makes me laugh if it wasn't so scary, because Donald Trump was never a conservative. He was a Democrat for half of his adult life, and he's very moderate, and only came around to the right, within the past few years. And even when during the primary, some of us didn't think he was actually going to be that conservative. So the way they go after him and Ivanka so rapidly is just fake.
Let me ask you this, and basically when you write your stories for the Stream and you do your research, etc., How in the world, or who in the world, really developed this marketing campaign for you and I and all America to just sit back and accept these people, these Muslims from the Middle East, to come on in here, even though after 9/11 it was the Muslim faith and Islamic religion that really tore apart New York City and killed over 3,000 people? Who developed the marketing campaign that all of us are wrong, and by bringing them in here, it's right?
Well, it's all funded by left-wing billionaire George Soros, and, he's got his willing accomplices in the media and the politicians like Obama that go along with it, and their marketing campaign seems to be, you need to feel guilty and racist and evil as a white Christian. They always have to refer to us as white. I don't know why, because polls show that Christians are many different nationalities and, tend to vote more monolithically as a bloc. But anyways, they make us feel guilty and say, you just hate Muslims and you're just judgmental. I mean, that's their token word they throw around. We're judgmental. And if you read that verse in Matthew, they're completely taking it out of context. They never read the next verse after it.
Yeah. Yeah. And one other final thought here this morning, Rachel, again, with all your studies when you write for your articles, I have absolutely, it was funny at first, but now it's not so funny. In the last couple of weeks, I have kept various articles from various newspapers. And there is a concentrated effort, especially in the USA Today and the New York Times, to come out with a leading kind of a volume approach of how we need to impeach right now President Trump. One of the articles last week said, practice it, say President Pence. And then one that came out last Friday in the USA Today was written by Christian Snyder, and the headline was, how to impeach Trump. I mean, these people are absolutely, they're going to go to the bottom of the barrel and rake up the scum because they're not going to quit.
I call them unhinged. I mean, he's barely been in office, and you're going to impeach him over what? He hasn't taken over as a dictator. He hasn't taken over as an authoritarian. I mean, he's handling these judges going through the system of checks and balances, where he goes back and he rewrites the executive order, and then they challenge it and goes back to court. What is he doing that is impeachable? He is following the law to the T. He's not some crazy ultra-nationalist, as the left keeps trying to portray him as.
Where do you see this going? Last thought here this morning. I mean, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of this thing, and I have. I mean, I hear it every day. I see it every day. I comment on it every day. But I thought it couldn't get much worse, and then it does. It seems like they reach a new level of lowness on the left. This thing's got to stop pretty soon because our country is just falling apart. How much worse can it get?
I think it can get worse because I think they're going to try to do something to Trump. I don't know what they're going to do. Usually the left likes to use the legal system to take people out. I don't know. They can't impeach him. They're not going to get the votes in the House and the Senate. But they can try to gin up some bogus lawsuit against him, try to get him criminally prosecuted, try to force him to resign. And obviously there are some who are very unstable on the left who might actually try to assassinate him, but I bet he doesn't, really beefed up security. So that's how I think how far the left is going to go. I think they're going to try to take Trump out in some creative way, most likely the legal system.
I enjoy having you on the program, Rachel. You write some really good topics in the stream, and I hope you'll come back soon. Enjoy your move to Arizona, and God bless you. Thanks for being on the program this morning.
God bless you, too. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Rachel Alexander, writer for The Stream, and her latest story about the judges striking down the travel ban. Okay, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We're going to do the weather forecast, and we'll come back and talk about anything you want to talk about in the remaining time of this hour. And right now, the weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I really, truly trust these people. I really recommend that you get a hold of them for your tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning. They know. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. Really, really good people serving you in 2 locations, Burley and Rupert. Once again, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, CPAs, serving you. Right now, here's the weather.
Spring break week for the kiddos. Looks like it's going to be nice at least for a couple of days, but however, we are still in that flood watch in effect through the rest of the afternoon. Here's your weather for Zev at the ranch. Looks like partly to mostly cloudy skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, not too bad. High of 65 is what we're looking at tonight. Partly cloudy, low of 42. Tomorrow, cloudy skies, high of 67. We do have about a 60% chance of rain showers for Tuesday night, low of 42. And then for Wednesday, winds picking up just a little bit, but the sun is going to be shining, partly cloudy skies, and a high of 58. That is your weather for Zev at the ranch.
Oh, she does a great job on that forecast. Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by our friends, your friends, that can help you during tax time and, for that matter, all through the year. With your tax return preparations, business consulting, bookkeeping services, I'm talking about Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Always there to serve you at 1710 Overland in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. They bring you the weather. Thank you very much. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Enough with the clowns. Enough with the clowns. And who am I calling the clowns? I'm calling the clowns the Schumers. I'm calling the clowns anybody on the left right now that wants to do nothing. Do nothing but get up in the morning and in their devious, filthy little ways, come up and derive points that they want to go against Donald Trump, they want to go against this administration, and quite frankly, by doing so, they're going against us. I want this administration to succeed. Was Donald Trump my choice for president? No. But he is the president right now, and quite frankly, he is really laying the groundwork to get things done for you and me and the American public in general. So I want this administration to succeed. I want them to get their nominations for all the different cabinet posts. I want them to put in place all the different people that can keep the machine running smoothly and work for you and I. That's the key. Work for you and I. And when I hear the Chuck Schumers, and I hear Hillary say, well, I'm coming out of the woods again, it just frightens me. Because right now the Democrats are nothing more than a party of hate and a party of insurrection and a party of losers. Oh, I know. There's Democrats that live right here in this area, and they're cringing at what I said, but prove me wrong. Why don't you, from the grassroots level, start a platform that's going to serve people and serve this country, instead of being one that wants to take and just absolutely break everything, like going into a house of China and break everything, destroy everything, and who's going to be the winner there? Nobody. When Schumer on television with his absolutely denigrating remarks, and other members that are on the TV or in the spotlight, they're not doing a thing right now that should make anybody want to belong to their party of sleaze. And when you look at these millennials, these snowflakes sitting in the street going, boo-hoo, woo-hoo, woe's me, I'm going to have to find a job, I'm starving. Well, gee, maybe that's a good thing. I know the other day I was criticized a little bit for some of my remarks on the program of being too harsh on some, underline that word, of our young people in America today. I make no apology, ever. It's about high time that they use the talents and abilities that God has given them and got their fat butt up off that street curb and went out and tried to be successful and also a positive part of America. I make no apologies for my criticism of these people. As a matter of fact, I've got a whole bunch more. Let's not forget that Ag Express is looking for drivers. All you have to do is call Dale and Paul at 438-8886, or Alan in Twin Falls at 731-2495, or Russ in Burley at 431-7175. They are looking for drivers, full and part-time positions. Yes, and retired folks are welcome to apply, and they'll work around your schedule, whatever works best for you. Absolutely, and you're home every night, and you're using new and maintained equipment. They've got great vacation programs and benefit programs. What are you waiting for? Call those numbers that I gave you a few minutes ago. Ag Express is looking for drivers. They are looking for you. You call them right now today. All right, it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I would really, really like to talk to you. And we'll talk about any subject you want to talk about this morning. One of the things that was said last week on the program, and I stood behind it and took a little bit of heat over this, was I was talking about from Iowa, Representative Stephen King. And he made the comment, and I'm giving a summation here on the quote. He said, "You cannot rebuild your civilization with someone else's babies. You've got to keep your birth rate up." Oh my goodness, the liberals and the perfect people in our society took a lot of hatred towards that subject, but it's really the truth. We are bringing in so many people from other countries, and they're birthing their own culture and their own society in our culture and society. And he was right. You cannot rebuild your civilization with somebody else's babies. It's true. And so I said last week, kudos to Representative Stephen King of Iowa, and you would have thought I went out and beat somebody's dog with a buggy whip. I'm not going to back up. I'm not going to apologize because I think he's right. We are seeing our culture, we're seeing our society replaced by other people coming in here, and they don't want nor like our culture or society, and they're trying to build their own little mini cultures and societies here. And it's the destruction of the United States of America. And I'm absolutely not going to back up on my remarks. So to the people that voiced their disapproval with me, there you have it, in your face. We are going to take a little break for a few moments, and then at 10:06 this morning, we're going to have a lovely lady on the phone, and we're going to be talking about Autumn Haven. And then at 10:40 this morning, we're going to go back east and talk to the president of the March for Life, and that's Jeannie Mancini. And we've got a couple of really, really great gals that are going to be on our program here in the next hour, so don't you go away. My dear friend Jack Euler commented to me, and I want to remind everybody that coming up this, Saturday, March 25th, the Sportsmen for Fish and Wildlife, their great big Magic Valley chapter banquet. It's going to be at the Canyon Crest Event Center at 330 Canyon Crest Drive in Twin Falls. Doors open at 5:30 p.m., dinner at 6:45, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Sportsmen for Fish and Wildlife. Really nice people. Okay, we're going to take a little break right now and send it over to Wheels for CBS News. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Don't you go away.